Life is for living. And at First International Bank and Trust, we're all about living, helping your dreams come true. Because we're not just in the banking business. We're in the first home business, the community sponsorship business, the how do I make this happen business, making your banking life easy so you can focus on what matters most. First International Bank and Trust. Live first.
A family farm is, well, different. The cab of a tractor is the CEO's office. Board meetings are held on the bed of Grandpa's pickup. And a conference call is a holler across the yard. To hurry your chores, kids, there's homework to be done. A family farm is about family pride as much as profit. Farmers Union Insurance believes this way of life is worth protecting. Because this isn't just where we work, it's also our family's home. Farmers Union Insurance, simply different.
Coming to you live from the Bonfire Studios North. It's another episode of Tauros Weekly. I'm your host, Peter Theodos. Joining me, as always, is Ken Oda. Ken, it's great to be back. We have hockey this week.
We do. We've had hockey the last few weekends, and now it starts to count for real.
It's official hockey,
yes,
though.
Now it starts to count, and I think that's probably the most exciting news we've had in months.
Oh, 100%. I honestly never thought we'd get here. It's here. And it just doesn't seem real. I'm just way too excited for this.
And you know what? And it's the Bobcats. What is 100 and however many days ago? The longest offseason we've ever had. It started with we played the last game of the NA season against Bismarck on March 11th.
We won't bring that game up though.
No, but that was the last game of the North American Hockey League season before the cancellation due to COVID, and now will be the first set of games to get the season going again. So it. Pick up right where we left off and hopefully get better results this weekend.
And we get to break out the new jerseys.
We do. The 10-year jerseys should be here in time, so we get to start off the 10-year celebration, Tauros 10, in the new sweaters and new look, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see them on the ice.
And new jerseys, new scoreboard, new head coach, and that's when with that being said, we will now bring in Tauros head coach, Shane Wagner. Shane, welcome to Tauros Weekly.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thoughts on the camp so far? You've been with the boys. You've made a few cuts. You've seen them play a few preseason games. What are your thoughts on this team so far?
I've been really impressed. A lot of guys came in ready to go and make a play to stay. And, Waz and I have had a tough little go here just trying to figure out who's our guys. But I've been really impressed. Our returners, the guys that, we protected, we drafted or tendered, have been fantastic. And there's been a few guys that came in just as free agents and are, making a really strong case for themselves. So it's been a very good camp. I think we've let maybe 8 guys go and that were real good players as well. And now it's getting down to it.
We're one of the first teams to start here, the Central Division. I think maybe the East is playing a little bit as well this weekend. How do you feel like it puts you at a disadvantage that we're starting our real games here right away and maybe some other teams get to sit back and wait for cuts?
Yeah, I think I've always been a big fan of, I always thought a good idea would be to start. The USHL's got to start before us, and usually in the past they're about a week behind us, which doesn't hurt us too much, but they're still holding on to quite a bit of players up there, and they're I have a feeling that we're going to get a few of those guys back in the next few weeks. So they're going to miss some of our games. And if I'm a team that's not playing till October and waiting for camp, I could have a couple of those guys in right then and there, ready to go. And at the same time, though, we have the ability to grab who we want right now and get them going. And that's been nice to see. And fortunately, our guys, I feel, are doing what they need to do to get ready to go here.
You mentioned the effect of the guys coming down. There's been dispersal drafts within the NAHL, within the USHL. So there's a lot of free agent talent out there, especially in the USHL, with players getting drafted and then bigger camps. That means guys getting cut. Mm-hmm. We mentioned, or I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, but we had 14.
I think it was 12
guys 14
in
guys in the USHL.
Yes. Yep.
So a lot of those guys are going to be either cut or let go by those teams. So that's going to be the trickle-down effect into Minot and into the rest of the division in the league. How is that going to affect the way that you're coaching now compared to what you're going to be coaching later, knowing that there could be some players coming in?
And I think the biggest thing is we can't hit the panic button too soon on a lot of things. But at the same time, those guys that are going out there now are fighting for their job, and if they're giving me everything they got, and they're making a push to, they can play day in, day out, then I'm happy with what I have, and it's going to make tough decisions later on. But yeah, it's been kind of tricky with everything, and, everyone has expanded rosters, expanded protected lists, the USHL does too, so there's a lot of guys spoken for, and right now it's tough for those kids, if they don't have maybe if they're unprotected or whatever, usually some kids that would probably stick in our league are having trouble finding homes, and it's just because of the lack of spots. So that's kind of where it comes down to the whole. It's tough right now for some of those kids and for us to make these decisions. But right now, the main reason why, or the main thing, our main focus is winning the weekend, and we're going to put out the best 21, 22 guys that we think can do that for us.
And that's the thing. There's obviously some focus on the guys who aren't here, but at a certain point you can't worry about the guys who aren't here. Who are some of the players that are here right now, that maybe some new faces that fans don't know yet but should be ready to hear from pretty quickly here?
Yeah, we got quite a bit of new faces and I've been real pleased with our veterans too, and they've been great, but we got a couple guys that I look at a guy like Caden Scott, who played in Topeka last year, that was going to be back there, and I think he was going to be a big part of their program this year, and unfortunately they had to take a year off. So speaking with their head coach, he spoke very highly of him, and now he's with us, and he's been nothing but excited to be here. He's got a ton of energy. I think he's, to be honest, one of the fastest guys I think we've seen in a Tauros jersey, and that's coming from a lot of guys with a lot of speed, with like Keenan Lund in the past, Fritz, and all those guys, but he can absolutely zip and brings energy. And then, we had a whole bunch of our tender guys. Trevor Stakoviak's in 03, but he's a big kid, and I think he's garnering a lot of interest right now. And then
he had 2 goals in the game against Aberdeen. Here.
Yep, here, and I think he raised a lot of eyebrows, not only with us and in Minot, but with the collegiate level as well. So, but there's a lot, a whole list. Joey Moffitt coming down, Carter Corpy, another kid that I've been real pleased with in the last few games. He was another kid that was all set to go to Jamestown, and then they ended up folding. We picked him up in the dispersal draft, and he's been really good. And there's a lot of others I'm forgetting, but yeah, if they're here now, I've been thoroughly impressed with what they bring to the table.
You're now a month or so into the transition to the head coach role. A lot of times the head coach is kind of the bad cop, and the assistant coach is the good cop. Have you transitioned in that role, or I know last year you were definitely the good cop to Marty's bad cop, I think. Is that are you staying the good cop and having Waz be bad cop, or are you transitioning more into that head coach, a little bit harder on the guys type of role?
I would say I've been trying to hold them a little more accountable than I was last year. Marty was fantastic with that, and just holding them accountable and getting the most out of them. So now it's my job to make sure I can't let them slip, and sometimes they need a kick in the behind to get going and told, hey, we need more out of them. And, as far as bad cop, good cop, I feel like Waz and I are just kind of rotating through that. It depends on the day.
You mentioned Waz and working with assistant coach Wyatt Waslinchuk. With your new position and him taking more of the assistant role instead of just the goalie coach, how has the chemistry been between you two so far? How has it been working off the ice, on the ice, and during games?
Well, I think it's good. He's got a, like I said, I think he's been part of 3 or 2 national championship programs with the Beavers. He knows how to win, and he's got that competitive nature in him. So it's been really good, and as soon as he got on board, I think that really engaged him into the Tauros. He wasn't just kind of focused on the goalies and, being here and having a good product. Now he wants to win, and he wants to win it all. So it's been good. He's not sitting back. He wants to get the best players on the ice, and he wants to get the most out of those players as well. So he has a lot of good ideas, and he helps every day with kind of practicing and holding guys accountable. And kind of, like I said, right now it's really tough to kind of fill a roster, and he's been good, just what do we see from this guy, not only skill, but in the locker room, off the ice and stuff like that. So
we got to look at Bismarck last weekend with the war in Watford. So you've seen him a couple of times, same head coach Lane there. They did have a new assistant coach. You kind of know what to expect from them going into the weekend, or was it helpful to play them last weekend?
I think it was helpful for the guys to play them. First game against Aberdeen, we got pretty stomped, pretty good there, and it was just a wake-up call, and I think that helped us through that last Saturday's game and Friday's game. And then Saturday, I think they had a pretty good lineup in. They had a lot of their horses in, they picked up some really good hockey players. They got 3 guys out of Fargo. They got quite a bit of returners, a good handful that are committed. So just to see the pace, and I feel for our guys, it's learning that the game's 60 minutes, and our division is going to be won and lost in the third period. And I think as you can look at a lot of our games where we kicked it on a notch, we took over it, and where we kind of sat back, I'm looking at Aberdeen. I think that we gave up 5, or what did we give up? 4 in the Aberdeen game in the third.
So, yeah.
And then we gave up another 3 down there. But we didn't have much in the third, and that's going to be what it's going to take to win this division, or at least be successful in the division, is a good third period. And I think the guys realize, we've got to keep going with what we need.
So you've seen Aberdeen, we've seen Bismarck, and you kind of touched on those 2 teams. But there's other teams in this division. We have the Austin Bruins, the Minnesota Wilderness, and the St. Cloud Norsemen.
Yeah.
The Norsemen now. Thoughts on those teams? St. Cloud just hired a new coach. They're probably going to be a little bit better this year. What's your take going into this year on those teams?
I think Austin's always going to be good. They're well coached. They always have good systems. They got some good local Minnesota talent and guys coming out of the USHL. And I've heard they got a couple of their committed guys back, which is going to be good. St. Cloud, Millen runs a very hard blue-collar team that's going to play well in our division. He's got a couple players in there, and even the players they had from last year that are coming back are going to be solid 20-year-old veterans in the league. So they're going to be good, and I think they're going to be a little more composed and a little more swagger than it has been in the past. The Wilderness, another team that just gets some real quality high-end talent there, and I've heard they got a couple kids out of high school that probably could have gone back, but they're going to go play there, and that's going to really help them. And I think John's now into his second year coaching up there, and he's done a good job, and he's got good help around him. So, yeah, there's not going to be a night off for us until the end of or until summer comes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it starts 2 nights from now.
Yeah, 2 nights from now. One last topic I got to actually 2 more. Kyler Clevin committed to Minnesota Duluth. You had the privilege of coaching him last year. What's your thoughts on him as a hockey player and as a person?
As a player, he's gifted, very, is very athletic, and he has a knack to score. He came to our main camp this year, and he was just kind of impressive. He just scores. So I'm very happy. I know we had a lot of colleges kind of after him, and then during the shutdown, it was the dead period went and made it really tough for him to get those looks that he needed to. But no, I know our AGM Chris Lonke worked really hard on that and got in touch with UMD and helped them out. And I know there's quite a bit of other schools kind of involved in the conversation as well. Very good schools. And and ultimately chose there. And I couldn't be any happier for the kid. He's well deserved, and he's worked his tail off for years.
Can't fault a kid for choosing the team that's won the last 2 national titles.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great. I mean, I think we went there last year. I think we toured we went on a tour there, and it's a fantastic organization. It's a fantastic town, and I couldn't be any happier for him. I think he's going to be, it's going to be fun to watch him in the next few years there.
Wags, we appreciate you coming on the show. Best of luck this year in your first season at the helm of the Wagner Tauros.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Hey.
All right, fans, we're going to step aside, take a quick break, and we'll be back with our second guest.
Life is for living. And at First International Bank and Trust, we're all about living, helping your dreams come true. Because we're not just in the banking business. We're in the first home business, the community sponsorship business, the how do I make this happen business, making your banking life easy so you can focus on what matters most. First International Bank and Trust. Live first.
There we go. And we're back here at the Bonfire Studios North with our second guest, who I am very pleased to have. And Jamie Hyatt made a comment earlier, and I'm going to bring that up. He said, Ken Oda is really trying hard for the Larry McFall flow. I feel very under-haired right now. I don't have as much hair as these two guys do. So
yeah, COVID shut everything down for a while, and it just started growing, and then everything opened back up, and I got COVID, so I couldn't go out. So it is what it is for now, and we'll see if I have time to get over to Sport Clips and get this taken care of at some point in the future.
I guess I just got to start growing the hockey hair, don't I, Larry?
I was hoping for a hair contest because I'll catch him here in about 2 months. But if he's already planning on shaving it off, I guess that's the way it goes.
Larry, welcome to the show. Great to have you on. We'll start out.
Thank you.
Real quick. You've been with the team, as you mentioned on one of your Facebook videos. You've seen this team for 10 years. You've seen the Mesa for how many ever years it's been open, obviously before I got
Either
here.
of us were here, yeah.
So how cool has it been to kind of just see the Mesa grow the way that it has when it expanded to the Pepsi rink, and now that it has this brand new video scoreboard?
Well, it's been a unique experience to be there the whole time. I haven't worked there the whole time. I came on board in about the 7th year of the facility. It's in its 20th year now, the main building is. And at that time, it was just a brand new place to go and play hockey, because the place that we used to have out on the fairgrounds kind of turned out to, we kind of got shoved out of there a little bit. It was built to have ice all the time and have hockey, and then after about 7 years, all these events started coming in, and you got to be out at the end of January, and so they built a new place to have hockey at, youth hockey. That's why it's the Mesa Arena. Minot Area Youth Skating Association is what the name means. And
I was actually always wondering about that. I never actually knew that.
Yeah, Minot Area Youth Skating Association. So at that time, it was just for youth hockey, and Minot High and Minot State were still playing their games out on the fairgrounds. And then eventually they just decided to come and play in the Eck rink as well. So, but we still needed something a little bit more, and that's why it was so great that the junior hockey came in. To actually have the NAHL come into the Mesa Arena. And then Minot State had already been there, of course, after moving from the all-season. So all of a sudden, you've got some pretty high-level hockey teams there in just 20 years.
Yeah.
And so we have the wide spectrum there, and a facility that right now we think can handle it. So it went from just a little youth and figure skating building, and then here comes the high school, here comes the college, and here comes the Tauros.
It's been fun for me being here since 2012, watching the arena grow. I've spent some time the last few weeks putting together kind of a 10-year history video and looking at pictures from that first home opener on the Eck rink when there wasn't the mezzanine, there wasn't anything built up around, and now you look at how far just the building has come, and how far the teams that play there have come with it. I think it goes hand in hand. You talk to any of the players, when they're doing their recruiting visits, they're talking. They come to Minot and they skate for a week, and then they maybe go to Bismarck and skate for a week, or Austin and skate for a week with the different teams. while they're trying to decide who they're going to sign their tender with. I really do think it helps the program just to have guys come in, and you walk into, especially now with this new scoreboard, guys are going to walk in what looks like just a mini NHL arena compared to the other local park district rinks. Which there's nothing wrong with those other facilities. They don't compare. You compare the OD or the VFW to what we have in Minot, and there's no difference.
Yeah, and the Eck rink actually was still kind of the same of them at that time.
Yeah.
So as soon as the Pepsi rink came into it, that, especially for you guys, a huge recruiting tool to be able to have that facility. Yeah, definitely. And we didn't know what to do the first year of the Tauros. We didn't know junior hockey. What are we going to do to entertain them and to get this place on that next level? We had no idea. So I was hired as the PA announcer, and the manager at that time, the promotions manager, decided, hey, we're going to put you in a suit, and you're going to come in through the Zam door every night with the microphone, and we're going to hit the music, and we're going to play Saturday Night Special by Leonard Skinner, and I'm supposed to come walking in under the strobe lights on the ice and start announcing and tossing some giveaways. We had no idea what to expect, and the team won 7 games. So, I mean, by the end of the season, I'm the announcer going like, do I really have to try to fire them up again? But it just took off. And seeing all these Toro fans, and you're doing this broadcast, from a location of one of the diehard Toro fans that we have, that's phenomenal. And everything has just grown so great. It's just awesome.
You mentioned you're the ice guy for the Mesa Arena. You're the head of the ice crew there, but also you've been involved with the team since the start. You were the PA guy for the first several years. You've been in the building. You've probably maybe missed maybe 10 games all the first 9 seasons total.
I haven't missed a game actually.
Okay, so
there you go.
You haven't missed a game. So what are some of your favorite memories of this team?
Well, the favorite memory was the big run 2 years ago. Obviously, it's got to be in 2018 when they won the cup, the Division Cup. I can't remember the name
Central
of it
Cup,
right
yeah.
now. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Is that just what it is? It
Yeah,
doesn't have a fancy name.
No, it
it's
doesn't
a
have a
Central
fancy
Cup.
name, just the Central Cup.
I thought I was missing out on a fancy name. But no, they that had to be number one for me. Even though all the years as it grew, you just notice all these kids having a chance to play and better themselves. And I heard you guys talking to Coach about that. And just the chance to play and the way the players act and the way they look and they got better and better from the group that we recruited in season 1 to what we've got now is night and day. But I'd have to say that 2018 was big. Just seeing the guys grow for 10 years is a big moment for me. But winning that cup obviously had to be the best that I could, obviously, because it's the furthest that we got. And then it was a heartbreaker watching hockey TV and seeing us come so close in that last game and just not being able to get it done.
You said you've never missed a game. So you've seen a lot of players pull on that Tauros sweater. If you can give us like your top 2, top 3, who are your favorite players?
Well, I'm kind of a little bit of a goofball, so I always kind of tend towards the goofballs, and the 2 greatest goofballs were Springman and Pionk. Chase and Nate, those guys were just goofballs. And you could hear them.
And they were good hockey players.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
And I'd be working on the Eck rink, maybe doing something over there, and they're practicing on the Pepsi rink, and I can hear Springman singing and yelling and screaming during practice, and it was just just the way they acted. It made everybody a little bit more loose, and it seemed like that kind of helped the team on out. As far as talent goes, I thought Madsen was an outstanding goalie. I thought he was great, and he got drafted by the Philadelphia Flyers, and now I guess, obviously, I've lost track of him. Ken probably knows
He's
what
still
the
been
situation
playing pro.
is.
Last year he was he was down in South Dakota in the ECHL. Rapid City.
Okay.
Rapid City Rush, yeah.
And as a goaltender myself, I follow the goaltenders. I really thought Grabko was excellent. Will Dung was a good goalie. Players, Johnny Lazat. Of course, I might be a little biased because, your whole staff at the Tauros, and nobody is from Minot or the state, and to have Johnny Lizotte playing originally he was born in Minot. He played hockey. He was a goaltender until Pee Wee, and then he switched to defense. And, of course, he moved to the Grand Forks, and the only strike against him is he played for the evil Grand Forks Red River in high school, which didn't really gain any brownie points with me. But he was an outstanding hockey player, and I know he was in the Penguin organization for a while.
Still is.
So hopefully he can maybe make something happen as well. But there's been so many of them, but I really felt for that first-year team. I mean, the kids did try as hard as they could, and to only win 7 games on that team, that it was hard to watch. Mason Morelli from Minot, outstanding player, and I was watching him skate with
the alumni group. Yeah.
With the alumni group, and oh my, I mean, you just have to hope that he
just
gets
signed
there.
With
and
Hershey,
I know with who?
With Hershey.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, and they're Philadelphia Flyers now, or they used to be the Flyer organization.
I think they're now the Capitals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but there's been so many. I know I'm missing a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But there's lots of times where we don't get to actually watch the whole game. We might have a crisis at public skating going on a Saturday night because Bobby took Billy's pop and candy bar off the bench in the lobby. So sometimes we have to run and go put out fires. But there's been some good players, and the Tauros definitely have been no lack of talent in the last few years.
You mentioned John Lizotte, and that segues to another thing I wanted to talk to you about. It's not just that you've never missed a Toro game. You have pretty much been present and a major part of the Minot sports scene for 40, 50 years at this point. You're one of the voices of Nodak Racing. You were with the Mallards. You've seen all the junior hockey that comes through town. How much does it mean to you to see these events in town?
Oh, it's huge. The history of hockey in Minot, we got the Minot Raiders came in 1975, and they played for 2 years. They came from El Paso. They were the El Paso Raiders. Ralph Engelstad owned the league, of course, from Engelstad Arena fame, and it was called the Southwest Hockey League, and he folded the El Paso team and decided to bring them to Minot because of Reggie Morelli. So all of a sudden, Minot has a team in that league, and they had to bus to Albuquerque. They had to bus to Texas. They had to bus everywhere, Las Vegas, to play all these teams in that league. So I think that might be why it only lasted 2 years.
Yeah.
But it was like it came out 2 years before the movie Slapshot.
Okay.
And that's about the best way to explain it. I mean, and people see that movie and hear stuff from the old days and they think, oh, that never happened. Yeah, it did. We had brawls every night, bench clearing brawls, fights, I was a fan one night, and the Butte, Montana goalie had a gorilla mask, kind of. It looked like that was in the day where he had the shaped goalie masks. His looked like a monkey. So I was on the high school team. We're all going to watch the game that night, so I decided I'm going to bring the bananas. So I brought bananas on a stick, and I'm dangling them over the glass at the All Seasons Arena, just ripping this guy. And they also got beat 22-4. So this guy wasn't happy. And they left him in for like 16 goals. Oh. And I'm offering him bananas, and all of a sudden the whistle blew. And I look down, I'm watching the play. We're sitting right on the glass, and he charged the glass, and I didn't see him coming. And all of a sudden somebody goes, look out. And he jumped. It was short glass back in those days, like the West Rink.
Yeah.
He jumped the boards. He had the one leg pad over the glass, and he was swinging the next one around right when the ref grabbed him. Or he would have been in the stands on me. You know what? I'm a 17-year-old high school kid. So, but it started with those guys, and they left after a couple years, and then the Minot Americans were around from 1987 to 94. Then they switched their name to the Top Guns until 97, and that was it. until you guys, except for in 1985 when a gentleman came to town with the Minot Maple Leafs and said this is going to be a great league. We're going to have a great league. $85 season tickets for 20 home games or something like that. So all of us guys were buying them up. There was never a game.
Ooh.
There was never a team left town. So now when the Muskies came in 2000 just for 1 year, I'm going like, it was a tough sell.
Oh, yeah.
Because nobody in Minot now wants to jump on that wagon. They hate hockey. They didn't know what hockey was anyway in Minot.
Yeah.
We didn't have ice till 68, so they didn't know, and they didn't really want hockey around. So the Muskies did real good, but they were playing at the All Seasons Arena, and they couldn't get any concession stand revenue. And so after 1 year, the same owner owned the Bobcats at that time. He just shut them down. And then of course, then the Tauros arrived and going into season 10. So the Top Guns and the Americans were here for 10. So we need we need to keep going.
We're not going anywhere.
We need to break that Minot 10-year record there. But yeah, it's I'm very happy that the Tauros are in town. Not just because I'm working at the rink, but the kids. The kids worship these guys, and they watch and they learn how to play, and they want to be that player. That's what you're here for, and you're also here to develop players to hopefully get them to the next level. I think that's your main two goals: getting those players advanced and helping our kids, making our kids better because we have the program in town.
It's certainly, just watching. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I'm sure if we talked to Brian Bauman and the Minot Wolves, that program has grown significantly just in the last 10 years, and I'm sure that we play at least a small part in that. I know friends of ours that they started coming to games because they just wanted something to do, and then their kids got hooked, and then their kids started playing hockey. And I think, that is a huge part of it. I'm upset. One of the things I'm going to really miss this season, and hopefully we get to a point where we can do it, is the skate with the Tauros. I know those are a little bit of a nightmare for you and your staff.
He says that word, I grant.
But I absolutely love the skate with the Tauros and getting the chance for the players to interact with the fans like that. I know, like I said, those are a little bit of a nightmare for you guys.
Well, in my defense now, and I have to explain myself, or people are going to show up Friday going like, that Larry hates the skate with the Tauros. I love the skate with the Tauros if they're skating.
Yes.
If they're skating. I personally, as the ice guy, do not want people in shoes walking around out there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe how much dirt and stuff is on there at the end of one of those. If it would just be skaters only, I'd be super fine with it. So I'm not against the concept. I want them to actually be skating with the Tauros, and if you don't have skates, I'm sorry, you can't come out on the ice.
That's fair.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
But we've been talking a lot of hockey, Larry. I know you're a big Habs fan. I'm a huge Blackhawks fan. Neither one of us got what we wanted out of this postseason. But how much did you pay attention to the Stanley Cup playoff bubble? Were you watching the games every night? Were you following along?
I paid attention all the time unless I was announcing racing in Williston or Minot or somewhere. If I didn't have a dirt track race, loved it. But as my team got knocked out, I just love beating Cindy Crosby and Malkin, and that's who Montreal beat and played the Flyers pretty well. Once they got beat, then it wasn't that big of a deal to make sure I was home by 6.
Sure.
But I still, but now when it got done, and now watching baseball. Now I'm starting to shake my head because you know what I miss about that? You miss the cameraman showing the crowd.
Yeah.
You miss the cameraman zooming into that crazy guy with the air horn that'll never shut up. Oh, yeah. Jamie Hyatt. Oh, it just happened to come in at the same time.
Yeah.
But and now I notice that in baseball, Ken.
There's more downtime in baseball, so you get
baseball
more of
is
those crowd
such a
shots.
slow game that I just loved. When here comes the 3-2 pitch, and they'll zoom in on the crowd, and they're chewing their fingers, and their hats are flipped backwards, and now I'm watching the baseball games, and I'm like, there's nobody there. I mean, it's just nobody cheering, and so the fans make a huge difference.
Oh,
and
even at our level, they do. I compare.
Yes.
we've had some of those crowds. That Bismarck game, I want to say in February last year, when there were 2,000 people in that building, and we had to kill a 2-man advantage in the final minute, and the building was just rocky. Yeah, then they pull their goalie, and it becomes a 6-on-3.
Yeah.
And they hit a couple of posts, and that building was rocking. And then you compare that to, we get those occasional Tuesday or Thursday night games when we only have 500 people in the building, and it's just a totally different feel for the whole event. And I talking to the players, they feel a difference too.
Oh, yeah. The players could just work off that energy. We all know it. Anybody that's been an athlete knows it. If you're playing baseball in front of 5,000 people, you're pumped up out there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If only 140 people show up and you're not hearing any noise, you're going like, geez, what's going on?
Well, I played D2 baseball, so we were lucky if we had at least.
Well, you had the custodian and the guy that sweeps the diamond.
Don't forget the parents.
He really cared, Peter.
My mom
the guy
and dad
driving around on the sweep really cared.
My mom and dad were there, so that's at least the good part.
Well,
so
you're lucky. I played high school hockey, and my mom never came to a game. But that's a story for another day. But no, the Stanley Cup, I thought they handled it really well. Unfortunately, you can't do a whole season like that. No. Coming up here now in December, I guess they're going to start December 1 with camp again already. So, but no, it was good to at least United States needed something. I'm a big dirt track racing fan, and I watch dirt track racing every night, World of Outlaws, anything that's on. There's 2 races on tonight I'll watch when I get home. And I just love watching that stuff. But at the start of the year, when COVID started, we were watching iRacing. We were going home and watching NASCAR and World of Outlaw guys race video games on TV, and that was a big event. We needed something.
Yeah.
And that's why thank you to the NHL and MLB and the NBA for what they did for the fans that like to watch them. But, boy, even those sports now, they have to get it. This COVID stuff can go away anytime because we need to get back to normal with those sports.
Well, Larry, they took care of you. You take care of us for the games, and we really appreciate what you and the rest of your crew do. There was a game this year where a piece of glass broke. You guys acted very quickly to it. You take care of the ice. You take care of the whole facility. You're one of the main reasons why the Mesa Arena and the Pepsi rink is so nice in the way that it is. So from all of us here, we do thank you for that and the work that you and your guys do.
Well, thank you. We got a lot of guys, that work really hard to accomplish what's going on, and they do most of the grunt work now. Like today, we took the turf out to the middle rink, rolling up those big rolls. That ain't easy. No. And while they were doing that, I'm over driving around, working on ice and cutting ice and making sure that my measurements and my levels, they're going to have an inch and a quarter thick ice to play on Friday.
Perfect.
Pretty much all over. But yeah, Bob Gillen leads the way, and thank you very much. We're glad to have you guys as one of the major tenants, and it's been fun. And we're going to keep on having fun, and we're going to kick some kiddies this weekend.
Cheers to 10 more years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, at least. We got to break that record.
There you go. Well, last thing before we let you go, Larry, what are you looking forward to most about this upcoming hockey season?
Everything. Being able to watch the boys, be able to watch the team grow and win, hopefully. And the togetherness that they have, and I watched them do stuff around the rink. You had them running yesterday,
yep.
And they're cheering each other on. And some of the guys that were struggling a little bit were getting knuckles after each lap, and that's the kind of stuff I just love watching. I love being around the whole thing, being at the rink before anybody comes in, get my ice done, and then you just watch the building wake up. You watch people start rolling in, and then an hour later, you've got hopefully a madhouse on your hands. So, but that's basically what I'm looking at. And those players nowadays, they work so hard. I think today now, after they were done, Bar 2 was running laps we just taken the turf out, so it was concrete, and he's down in a football stance and taking off and sprinting, and he must have did 10 of those. I walked out there and said, wow. I go, you've made me real tired. I go, I'm gonna go to the exam room and take a nap. We never worked that hard back in our day. And on the ice, the stuff that Shane and Waz have them doing, everybody's always busy. The short drills, everything's fast. we used to do 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, even our higher level teams. That's all they ever used to do. And now you've got all these hard drills, and these players, man, they work their butts off. They really do. And I just hope they get rewarded for that. And last year, I think the Tauros could have won it all last year. I think it got in the playoffs, and I think we could have done some damage. And so it's time to continue that this year now. I mean, it came really close in 18. 19 kind of got the shaft, and so we got to work on this year.
This is the year to do it, especially with the tenure. Larry, we thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
So, fans, that is Larry McFall. Ken, a lot of exciting stuff to come up this weekend.
The
opening
next few weekends.
Yep, exactly.
The season kicks off with 3 weekends in a row at home, so that'll be a lot of fun stuff coming up. Obviously, home opening weekend. Friday night, we'll introduce the full roster. We'll do, as I kind of alluded to earlier, got a history video that looks back at the first 9 seasons and really put a lot of work into that. I'm excited to see fans' reaction to that. And then, next weekend, we get right back to it. The Circle Sanitation Coat Drive, the 16th, excuse me, and 17th against the Minnesota Wilderness. So fans bring new or gently used winter gear. We'll get to that to families in need in the Minot area. And then the weekend after that, trunk or treat with the Minotauros Booster Club on Saturday. So, 3 weekends in a row and three big weekends.
Yeah, and then individual game tickets for all 3 of those weekends and the rest of the season are now available. Head over to MinotaurosHockey.com/tickets.
Tickets.MinotaurosHockey.com to get your tickets, or just go to GoTauros.com and there's a ticket link right on the front page there. And we should address it. I know a lot of fans have been asking our COVID policies. We are following state and local guidance. Right now, we've been told we can put 2,300 people in the Mesa Arena. So we've got 2,300 tickets on sale. Masks are optional. We have taken some precautions, though. Sections 115 and 116 are set up for social distancing. So if you prefer not to sit by other people, you can buy your tickets over there. We've got some hand sanitizer stations that we'll be putting out around the arena. We've switched to contactless payment at merchandise and at the bars, so you can pay with your card now instead of cash if you want. And so we're taking the precautions. We'll have masks on our staff, so while masks are optional for fans, our staff will all be masked up, and we do ask that you do the same, but they are optional. So if you really don't want to wear a mask, you don't have to come to the game.
Exactly, and just come out and enjoy some hockey once again here in Minot. It's great to have it back. It's fun. It's an exciting kickoff to a very exciting year.
Games 1 and 2 of the season are games 1 and 2 of the Subway Cup. I mean,
exactly. Yeah, starting right off with the Subway Cup.
To battle with the Bobcats right off the bat, I think it'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully we get 4 points out of it.
Exactly. So that's going to wrap things up here from the Bonfire Studios North. From our tech guy in the back, Sean Bachhoven, for Ken Oda, I'm Peter Theodos. We'll see you next week, hopefully after 2 wins.
Yep.